Hello everybody from Plant Reviews. Today 31st of July, full summer and about 35 degrees here in Kent, southern England, so definitely scorching summer day today. And I'll talk today about one of the most famous plant in summer, that is the Summer Hyacinth. There are several species of Summer Hyacinths that belong to the genus Galtonia. This in particular is quite an unusual one, Galtonia princeps, recently reclassified as Ornithogalum princeps by some scientists. Galtonia is a genus of plants in the family Asparagaceae, in the subfamily Psylloideae, and the tribe Ornithogale. They are native to southern Africa, and they are named after the English scientist Sir Francis Galton. Some scientists classify Galtonia as a subgenus of Ornithogalum. Some others instead prefer to keep it separate. Considering that in many garden centers as well as on online nurseries, the plants that you can find are still classified as Galtonia and not Ornithogalum, all the Summer Hyacinths, I decided to keep the genus name Galtonia for this video. These are large and vigorous perennial bulbous plant. The leaves are quite large. In my pot I have this plant, it's a species called Galtonia princeps, well, according to some scientists classified as Ornithogalum princeps. The leaves you see around these are actually of a gladioli, fidelio, as you can see by the tag, while this one, the Galtonia princeps, is the plant that has the very large leaves. I can show you better from this side. Yeah, you can see actually how large are the leaves. They're about 40 centimeters long and about 10 centimeters wide. The flowers, they are about 5-6 leaves, and the flower stem originates from the middle of the plant and is quite bare. As you can see, if I move around the gladioli, you can see how the flower stem is quite tall over the foliage indeed. This plant is a plant that flower obviously in summer. The inflorescences are racemose and sometimes corymbose in this genus. In this Galtonia, the flower stem is obviously in a raceme, as you can see. The flowers are nodding. In some species can be white. For example, Galtonia candidans is the most famous of the Galtonias. I just put this plant a little bit closer to me so I can give you a better look of the flowers. So the flowers are nodding, and they can be green or white. In Galtonia princeps, the flowers are kind of greenish white, more green than white, I would say. If you go for a white Summer Hyacinth, go for Galtonia candidans, definitely not for Galtonia princeps, that, as you can see, has these green flowers instead. The flowers are bell-shaped, as you can see, and they open in a sequence from the bottom to the top. Indeed, the flowers on the bottom are already faded, while the flowers on the top are still in bud. The plant the plant produces flowers that are bell-shaped, so-called campanulate, where the tepals are fused in a tube that extends for about half of the flower. Galtonia was first described in 1880 by Joseph de Quesne. Back then they were classified in the Liliaceae. However, then they have been reclassified since the Liliaceae family were split into two groups, Asparagales and Liliales, the two orders. They have been reclassified instead with Asparagales together with the Scille. In the Scille, indeed, including Galtonia. Some scientists, as I said, include Galtonia as a subgenus of Ornithogalum. So it should be named, according to this new classification, Ornithogalum princeps, but as above, as said at the start of the video, I will keep it the name Galtonia princeps because still this is the name that has been used the most among garden centers and online nurseries and gardeners anyway. Galtonias are distributed in Southern Africa, and they are distributed in the area with summer rainfall area, and again they are quite popular as garden plants, in particular the type species that is Galtonia candidans. Galtonia princeps is differentiated by the candidans because the flower is not as white as Galtonia candidans, instead has a green band on each segment, as you can see. Hopefully I will be able to try to focus on the flower. You can actually see that it is indeed quite green. However, I don't think I'm able to focus at the moment. Okay, yeah, do you see actually how green is the flower, both on the external part and on the internal part? 1 second, hopefully. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to give a better look of the flower, a close-up of the flower. Unfortunately, this is the best I can do. However, as you can see, it is quite clear how the green color is evident in these flowers that are absolutely not white. About the fragrance, there is a very light fragrance in this species. This is a species that is often sold as a fragrant among the flower bulbs. However, even if the name is also reminds of a beautiful fragrant plant, the hyacinth, this plant is nowhere close to the hyacinth about fragrance. The fragrance is indeed very faint. I can barely detect it when I stick my nose in the flower. So really it is a plant that I can't recommend at all if you like fragrant plants. The plant itself is a nice specimen if you like green colored flowers. It is a plant that is quite rare. I bought it on an online nursery. I never found the Galtonia princeps on sale in garden center. The only Galtonia I was able to find in garden centers was the Galtonia albicans. Other Galtonias include Galtonia regalis and Galtonia viridiflora, but these are also species that are not very common in cultivation, and the only species that you can find in garden centers really is Galtonia candidans. I cultivated a couple of years ago Galtonia candidans, again a plant that was supposed to be fragrant, and the fragrant, again like in the princeps, is very barely detectable. It's a kind of a grassy fragrance, like the fragrance, the perfume that spreads from the grass when you cut it, but definitely nothing special. The Galtonia princeps was one of the first Galtonias to be classified, indeed, and basically to have reached the UK from Southern Africa. Indeed, Galtonia princeps and candidans were both listed in a report of Kew Gardens in 1884. Therefore, this plant has been in cultivation for a really long time. The plant, as many bulbous plant for Southern Africa, needs full sun and well-drained soil. Bulbs need to be planted about 10 centimeters deep, and again, this plant is a plant that does very well in pot. As you can see, I have it in a pot together with my Gladioli Fidelio, and it grew very well and bloomed very nicely. The stems can reach up to 90 centimeters, so about 3 foot tall. Then there are up to 20 greenish trumpet-shaped flowers. This plant is hardy down to zone 8, so it's hardy in the south, in most of the southern part of the UK. However, if you live in areas where that experience prolonged frosts, definitely I wouldn't recommend this Galtonia, and you can plant it outside and then bring it back in the winter at home in a very cold but frost-free room, or otherwise in a cellar, as long as obviously it is well aerated. Otherwise you can keep the pot itself in a cold greenhouse. Just as usual for any bulb, it's very important that you keep the environment well aerated and not too warm, and obviously not too humid. I hope you enjoyed the video. My review for this plant is a nice plant if you like green flowers, but I couldn't find anything really of particularly attractive in this plant. Indeed, I will probably make it as a gift in this autumn. The flowers, as you can see, are the classical bell-shaped flowers of many flowers. Only the color green is quite unique, but really I'm not a fan of green in flowers, considering that I have already a lot of green among my plants for their foliage anyway. Sometimes green flowers have an exceptional fragrance, but this is not the case obviously for Galtonia princeps. And the flowers on the top of that, even if they are quite numerous, they are pretty small. They are about probably 3 centimeters long and about 3 centimeters in diameter as well. So again, if you are looking for a fragrant summer bulb, do not go for Galtonia. For Galtonias in general, in particular, do not go for Galtonia princeps, but I wouldn't recommend any Galtonia. 2 years ago I cultivated Galtonia candidans, and yes, Galtonia candidans, and the fragrance was very detectable. Last year I cultivated Galtonia viridiflora. Again, the flowers are more green than Galtonia princeps, but again, the fragrance is absolutely almost undetectable even in Galtonia viridiflora. So if you go for summer fragrance, do not go for Summer Hyacinth, go instead for lilies, or if you are looking for bulbs, or otherwise, for example, go for buddleias or pineapple brooms that are definitely some of the most fragrant shrubs you can get for the garden, or otherwise roses that have some varieties incredibly fragrant. If you like climbers, go for honeysuckles or for jasmines, but definitely do not go for Galtonia princeps. Sorry to say that, but I really wanted to stress it out. Do not believe to fragrant to sellers selling this plant as a fragrant bulb, because it is absolutely not. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching, and if you like to support this garden channel, it would be great if you can please subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.